What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack.
Give me just a second. Share that on Facebook. All right, I was a little bit ahead of that time, so it shouldn't take as long. What's up, chat? Welcome, welcome. Oh, there's hardly any people in here yet, but still, welcome. Good to see you. It's about time. About time everybody showed up. Tired of y'all being late every night. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's getting old. What the hell? Why is this not loaded yet? Ah, there it is. Change accounts. I share it from my stream account, then I share it on my personal account, just in case. You never know. Share now, share now. Facebook's the only platform when I hit go live, it's like at least, it seems longer because I'm sitting here waiting on it, but it's at least 2 minutes before it actually shows up on Facebook. YouTube, it's like 10 seconds, which is crazy. All right, get that. That's good. I think we're good, guys. You ready? There we go.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. I think my audience is pretty smart. Okay, I don't think you guys are retarded. The best I can guess personally. I don't think you guys are retarded. Okay, I haven't met each of you individually, but if I had to assume, I would assume my audience is pretty decent, right? Average or better. You guys know. How can I explain this? Hold on. If you brought me something, let's say you brought me a tiny piece of gold, and you said, "Will, I'm thinking about selling this gold, but I'm not even sure it is gold. I was told it was gold, right? And I want to sell it, but I need some validation that it is gold." And I ran it through a test that I had, right? I personally had a test, and that test came back as inconclusive. Does that mean the thing that you gave me is absolutely not gold? What about if the test come back that it was, ruled out? It was tin and zinc, 100% tin and zinc. Well, that would mean it's not gold, right? If it was ruled out, if it was eliminated completely. If the test is inconclusive, that doesn't mean it's not it. The reason I'm bringing this up is look, I like the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories. I like to watch them and cover them, and I like how the right is like melting down over Charlie Kirk, and Israel did it so Trump would go to war with Iran and blah, 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 blah. I think it's funny. The bullet that hit Charlie Kirk fragmented into tons of pieces, right? The pieces they recovered when they did the ballistic testing, they don't have a direct match. They can't say with 100% certainty this bullet came from this gun, right? Because it shattered. It hit bone and it shattered. They're trying to replicate it by putting pieces back together at the crime lab. They're not saying that this gun didn't shoot Charlie Kirk, which is what online influencers would have you believe. Oh, now they're saying the 30-06 that he had didn't take the shot? No, no one said that. Now they're saying the gun he has isn't a match? No, they're not saying that. The report says, so the defense brought up some stuff and filed it and it was released. Basically, the defense is talking about how it's not a 1-for-1 match, and it isn't, right? you would have to recover a decent size. You would have to recover a piece of the bullet big enough and together to at least see what they're judging is basically the rifle grooving, right? The rifle grooving will have like microscopic inconsistencies from just the machining process, it being dirty, it being this, whatever, right? When you fire a bullet through that rifling, the bullet expands, grabs hold of that rifling. That's what twists the bullet to stabilize it. And it leaves certain marks on it, characteristics. Even when you fire 2 bullets from the same gun into, water or ballistic gel, they're not like a 1-for-1 match. They're not like perfectly fucking matched, right? I know a lot of people have been watching CSI or some shit. Think they're all experts on it. Like, they're not saying it didn't come from the gun, right? They're not ruling that gun out. They're not saying it wasn't the murder weapon. They're saying that we don't have a 1-for-1 match. We can't 100% say that that's what it's from, which a lot of people should have anticipated, especially when they talked about how the bullet shattered or whatever. I would think you would anticipate that, knowing that you need a decent chunk of the bullet to do ballistic testing. Actually, let's see if someone's covered it on. Here's CBS News talking about it 2 days ago.
For the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. The defense team for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk now says the bullet used could not.
I think they're going to say that it was frangible, right? A frangible rounds. Not that it can't fire regular bullets, but literally he had frangible ammo, which is ammo that's designed to fucking basically break into all types of pieces when it hits something.
Be matched to the gun Tyler Robinson allegedly shot. That's according to court documents obtained by CBS News.
So the way that you would tell, so just to answer your question, Lullabelle, the way that you would tell if this was a frangible bullet or some type of special bullet makeup is you could test the metals that are in the fragments, right? You could run a test to see what types of metals are in there because, like, if you have just a jacketed hollow point, right? It's a copper jacket over lead, and then each different company has their own little. It's kind of like buying gas. Like when you go to a BP versus an Exxon, the gas is the same. It comes from the same pipeline. Sometimes in the same trucks, it's all the same. They add their little special concoction to it to give you cleaner valves or better mileage or whatever, to call it BP certified gas or Exxon excellent gas or whatever it is. Well, bullet manufacturers do the same thing. So they have casings, and they'll take the fragments and they'll see what the metal makeup is. Like, is it 12% copper, 2% zinc? But a frangible bullet, a bullet that's literally made to explode, basically, to like break up into tiny pieces, which isn't good for a shot like this. Like, honestly, if he was using a frangible round, it would be a bad decision for a shot like this. This is not a good idea. But let's say he was, it would have copper, it would have a copper jacket. It would probably have some tin in it. It may have some tungsten powder sometimes are in it to give them a little more weight. And that tungsten powder will be hard, like compressed or glued together with a glue that'll break apart when the bullet's fired. But yeah, if they're saying that it's some type of special bullet, I would say a frangible round. And that also explains why it didn't over-penetrate and come out the back, while instead it shattered so much. Anyways.
The defense team for the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk now says the bullet used could not be matched to the gun Tyler Robinson allegedly shot. That's according to court documents.
That's technically true, right? They can't say they have a 1-for-1 match and line up the fucking rifling, right? The ballistic patterns on the round that, is just pieces of a round. By the way, I don't think Mariah's here tonight. She's probably already in bed. I got started late. And I know her sister doesn't watch the show, but shout out to Mariah's sister. She's graduating nursing school and getting pinned tomorrow. So that's a big accomplishment.
Obtained by CBS News. CBS News national correspondent Carter Evans has more details.
It's been nearly 7 months since conservative political activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed during a Utah Valley University campus event on September 10th last year. Now, attorneys for Tyler Robinson, the man charged in Kirk's killing, are asking to delay his preliminary.
This is the defense's job, right? Is to bring up doubts, right? To bring up this, to bring up that. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about. Oppressing me here too. Tomorrow's good for. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The defense's job is to bring up these doubts, right? And to put them in, especially if they can get them in front of the public, right? It's one thing to bring it up in court, but when it gets out to the public and the public starts running with it, that helps shape a narrative.
Hearing to review a mountain of material they say could help his defense. In a new court filing, the defense claims in an ATF report summary that the agency, quote, was unable to identify the bullet recovered at autopsy to the rifle allegedly tied to Mr. Robinson.
Doesn't mean that those bullets aren't the same or that they aren't connected. It just, there isn't enough evidence there to come.
It just means that the testing didn't show, you know, with they could say like a 95%, factor that we know that this bullet was fired from this rifle, or a factor of certainty. They can't do that, right? Probably because they didn't recover a piece large enough.
To a conclusion.
CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson says this is not unusual.
It is sometimes difficult to match bullets that were recovered.
And it may not be a frangible. Maybe what they're saying where it hit the bone and shattered, and it's a rare shot, or a shot you don't expect it and it didn't go through. I would have expected to see a through and through, to be honest with you.
Covered at autopsy with bullets that are associated with a defendant's gun. And that could be based on lack of evidence and lack of markings on those bullets.
Robinson has been charged with aggravated murder in Kirk's death. He has not yet entered a plea. Prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty.
Robinson hid the gun and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages.
The text messages are wild, dude. Like even I don't do illegal shit. I'm not out here. I'm not an assassin or planning anything, and I'm like sketched out by like shit that I even say to my wife that I'll put in text. And there's certain things I'll be like, I'll just tell you in person. And he's like, hey, it was me all by myself. You remember that? Like it was just me that did it. And I want to admit that to you right now because I feel like you should know. And I know you didn't have any idea what was going on, and that you should not be punished for this because you had absolutely no idea. Thank you. Love you.
Prosecutors allege Robinson admitted to killing Kirk in those text exchanges.
Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Robinson, I am. I'm sorry.
Prosecutors also say they have DNA evidence that connects Robinson to the killing. Levinson says his
DNA will be on the rifle. For
ability
sure.
to conclusively match the bullet won't necessarily damage the prosecution's case.
His DNA is probably on that rooftop somewhere too, depending on what ladder he took. Or I know he took stairs at one point, but I don't think the stairs go all the way to the roof. They might, but on a door handle or whatever. At some point he was wearing gloves. At some point he took the gloves off. So.
Prosecution has other evidence to rely on. This does not completely undermine their case.
What's up, Q idiot?
Evans.
I wonder what the Charlie Kirk guys are saying about it. This is actually, I don't know why they keep calling it the Charlie Kirk show. I think they should do something. Call it the, what was his movement? The Tapusa show or something. It's really weird they're still calling it the Charlie Kirk show. They need to announce a new name in memory of Charlie Kirk and call it something else.
Breaking news story about the Tyler Robinson trial, which breaking news stories. It wasn't actually breaking.
I don't agree with these guys, like these guys, whatever. That's what I said, Tapusa. But I am interested to see how they're defending this because he did it. He's a trans activist, blah, blah, blah. He's the only one. He did it. We're all acting normal. Erica Kirk is grieving in her own way. She loves Roman candles in her ass. That's how she grieves.
That's really what we actually want to emphasize, because there's several pieces of it, and what people decided to run with online was pretty different from what you and I actually think is the biggest reveal of it.
There was actually a lot of reveals, but people should know this. So essentially, the Daily Mail comes out with an article that says the bullet does not match the gun.
Yeah, this is the literal headline that the Daily Mail used, and which got...
But it wasn't ruled out. It wasn't like, oh, there's no way this bullet could have been fired from that gun.
Millions of views on it.
Millions.
The headline was...
Which is the way that online influencers are treating it. They read a fucking headline and went and they're basically treating it as if that the ballistics said, oh, this bullet did not come from this gun. That's not what they're saying.
Used to kill Charlie Kirk did not, all caps, match rifle allegedly used by suspect Tyler Robinson. New court filing claims. Now, we're going to have to unpack that.
We're going to unpack a lot of that. But here to help us do it is someone I've been watching online for a while now. I've been really impressed with his takes. I've never met him in person before, but he agreed to come on because he was instantly on top of this story. His name is Justin Nazaroff. He's the CEO of Phoenix Ammunition. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck this guy. This cuck, mother. I hate this guy. I know exactly why he's on the Charlie Kirk show. Like, he's the biggest fucking cuck, dude. Like, he owns an ammunition company. And if you go back and look at all his old posts, it's like, oh, this shall not be infringed. That's what it means. We have a right to bear arms. Everybody should have a firearm, blah, blah, blah. But he was the first one that was like talking shit about like being at a protest with a gun. Or the cops fucking gunning down Renee Good and shit. Like, he's such a cuck. If you own a gun or ammo company, you don't have to be political, but at least stand for guns and fucking ammo, dude.
It's the first time I've ever seen you, Justin, so it's great to see you. So let's just take apart this headline from the Daily Mail. I saw you criticizing it as sort of an egregious misrepresentation of the facts. They're saying the bullet does not match the rifle, court filing claims, right? What's your read of what actually it says?
Well, I mean, it's one of those headlines where they can say something that's true, but because they leave out the context, as soon as you read the article, you can see why it's false. And so what they did was they analyzed a bullet jacket fragment and were unable to determine that it came from the shooter's rifle. So unfortunately, ballistic science is, in a lot of cases, a best guess, and in many other cases, pseudoscience. But what we know is it doesn't work like CSI Las Vegas. When a bullet hits something and deforms, which is what we've been talking about the whole time, we're assuming that the shooter probably used a hollow point or some other bullet that is functionally intended to deform when it hits something. And so when it does that, it doesn't come out in a nice, perfect form where you can see all the lands and grooves from the barrel and make a positive match. So in this case, they can't determine whether the bullet was fired.
As soon as I saw Phoenix fucking Ammunition, I know this guy. I've been in so many arguments with this guy on Twitter.
From the rifle, but they also can't determine that it wasn't fired from the rifle. That's effectively all they're saying. They're saying that there's some reasonable doubt that it could theoretically have been something else. Now, and I'm not making it.
Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate it. I was thinking about not covering it because I know my audience is not big Charlie Kirk fans, but I do like the infighting it causes, for sure.
An affirmative declaration one way or another. I want people to understand that this has nothing to do with what I think happened or what anybody else thinks happened. All I'm doing is looking at the facts, and as somebody who's been doing this for a very long time, knowing that most people just really don't understand.
He sells ammo, right? He's not a fucking ballistic analyst. He sells ammo.
Much about fire.
Manufactures ammo. Test ammo. That has nothing to do with fucking forensic ballistics, but whatever. I've been doing this for such a long time, as a guy that does that.
Generally, and even people in the firearms community who do understand firearms generally don't really know a lot about ammunition.
Yeah, and so you're saying basically because the fragmentation of the bullet was so severe, I don't mean to sort of infer by your tone here, but you're saying, of course, this would be one of the options that, of course, you wouldn't be able to necessarily identify it via forensic evidence with the gun. There's other ways you could. Now, the caliber matches, all of these kinds of things. But, I think what people expect is sort of the CSI version of reality.
A lot of people think, and I think this is a graphic you can see in TV shows or movies, where they'll take like a bunch of little pieces of metal out of thin air, and then they'll like put them all onto like a little machine, and then like the computer will assemble all the bits, and they'll just see it. Oh, they'll like bend the bits and reassemble the bullet, and then like green text will pop up that says confirmed match.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So I'm just going to read one of your tweets. I'm not going to put it up on screen because you use some colorful language here.
The time-honored tradition, honest work of ammunition maker. You know what? I always think back about in Iraq, dude. It's funny now looking back, and I guess it's kind of fucked up. But we could always tell the people who made fucking explosives almost always would be missing a fucking digit, a hand, a toe. They always wore sandals, right? They would always be missing some type of digit. And they'd try to tell us that it was a farming accident or I lost it when I was a kid, but they were always missing a digit.
Justin, but you say completely and utterly misleading garbage about this Daily Mail headline. You say the bullet is unable to be identified because it's you use more colorful language here. It's fragmented into a bunch of pieces. And when that happens, they don't do some magic CSI Las Vegas animation where they manage to reassemble the bullet and perfectly align the lands and grooves to match a barrel. None of that is real. That is not how science works. And then, it was interesting to watch the internet last night. This story hits, all the usual suspects take it and run it, and then a bunch of saner voices come in and say, this is not something new. We've known that the bullet fragmented. We knew that like lining it perfectly
in the first days after
lining it perfectly up to the rifle was going to be a challenge. But there's other ways that you could match in theory, right? And again, I respect that you're not trying to say this happened or that happened. You're just giving us the details. You're giving us the facts. There's other ways you could match a gun to a bullet, correct?
Yeah,
like
well, as an example, they could test the metal and show this is the same metal.
Well, the casing has nothing to do with, right? The casing, yeah, the casing fits in, but that's not going to tell you that's the bullet that killed him.
As the rounds that were recovered with the rifle, which remember, we have a rifle with rounds that have political messages engraved on them.
And the casing that they have from this,
more like memes engraved in them, but yeah.
It also has a message engraved on it, apparently, that matches.
Sure. I mean, I guess I'll even walk that back a bit further. It's actually very difficult to match a bullet to a rifle. So, for example, 30-06 as a cartridge uses the same bullet that's used in .308 Winchester. So even if you recovered a .308 diameter bullet that was perfectly intact, if you didn't have the rifle that it was fired from to match the lands and grooves, there would be no way for you to determine that it was fired from a rifle chambered in .308 Winchester or 30-06. And so then when you start mangling up bullets that are roughly about the same size, a lot of medium to large caliber rifles use projectiles that are roughly the same length, roughly the same weight, roughly the same diameter. So if you smash those up into pieces, you may not even, if they didn't have a rifle to compare it to, there's no guarantee that they would even.
You got a job as a CO, like in a jail? Well, that's a cool job. Good luck.
Be able to know what the.
I think you could be a good cop. I think you can be a good CO. I think you can be good, but protect yourself. Stay safe. Don't be one of these fucking idiots that they always get busted smuggling shit in or trying to get some fucking pussy from an inmate or something stupid like that. You can make a good job out of it.
What the caliber of the cartridge was beyond reasonable doubt. So it's a very inexact science. And in this case, Candace Owens, I hate to bring her up, but she mentioned on her podcast on September 25th that the bullet was fragmented into pieces. So this is something that, the people on that side of the fence have known for a long time. And they're just basically milking more views and more audience out of the same information we already had. It's basically like Schrodinger's bullet, right? If they had managed to recover a fully intact bullet where the lands and grooves matched perfectly, people on the other side would say, well, it's obvious that the bullet was planted because you're telling me that a bullet was fired through a human being and it was in perfect condition. There's no way that came out of Charlie Kirk. It must have been something that they fired in a test range, and this is what they're using to frame the shooter.
Right.
But in this case, because it's broken up into pieces, they can say, oh, well, see, we can't even identify the bullet. So it must not have been Tyler Robinson. It has to be somebody else. It's just.
I've lost sense of. I'm a veteran too, but apparently this job gives you. Yeah, I'd say that's probably good for you. A little bit of structure, a little bit of command structure back, and superiors, and chain of command, and. That might help you out, man. Don't let it drive you the other way, but, to where you're like fucking struggling with, maybe PTSD or something. But I'm a veteran too. A little bit of structure is good for veterans. If you miss that, if you crave that. When I got out, I craved, structure. Like I knew where to be, when to be there, what uniform to wear, when to work out, when to eat, and I missed that for a while.
Yeah.
It's nonsense.
On TikTok, teens get over 50 built-in protections from their parents' link account, Guardian's Guide, or Guardian's Guide.
Why they're advertising for TikTok has a paid advertisement on the chart. I skipped this because it was an ad. TikTok has a paid advertisement on the Charlie Kirk show.
They can say, oh, well, see, we can't even identify the bullet. So it must not have been Tyler Robinson. It has to be somebody else. It's just, It's nonsense.
Yeah, that's definitely bad. Yeah, I would say that would be good for you, Jeep West. Don't be one of those that's fucking. So the people in jail know, like, they know the shady fucking COs. They know the fucking dickhead, abusive COs, and they know the COs that just be honest, right? Treat everybody the same. No favorites or taking out anger or none of that. Just.
An anonymous user gifted a tier 1 sub to Jeep West 99.
Thank you for the gifted sub. Yeah, just be the guy that when they think about it, be like, yeah, he's strict, but he's fair with everybody. You know what I mean? He's just doing his job.
On TikTok, teens get over 50 built-in protections from the start. But for parents, further visibility and...
This is crazy that TikTok is buying a paid ad spot on the Charlie Kirk show. I've never seen them on a left-leaning or a podcast. Have you?
Control of content can help create the right environment. That's where family pairing comes in. Teens under 18 have a 60-minute screen time reminder in place. And with family pairing, parents can set their own screen time limits or even set restricted times based on what works best for their family. Family pairing lets parents link accounts to see their teens' followers and who they follow and help restrict content that's not right for them. Because peace of mind shouldn't take guesswork. With easy-to-use tools like family pairing, parents can help shape the environment that makes the most sense for their teen first. That way, discovering creativity can follow. Learn more at tiktok.com/guardiansguide. Here's the interesting thing. So if you looked at all this documentation, and again, this was not new news. There was a court filing, actually, I think by the...
That's wild. It's the first time I've seen it. I hope the people there aren't so bad. They won't be at a minimum security. Just keep your head on a swivel. I mean, it's the same thing as, you know, being in the military. I don't know if you got any deployments downrange or whatever, but it shouldn't be like you're fucking in goddamn downtown Baghdad in fucking 2003. But also, you want to be aware of everything around you.
Media that confirmed the fragmentation of the bullet and ATF report a couple of weeks back, but somehow this became the headline. The defense also referenced, so they use this to say, hey, we're going to try and delay this trial even more, which in my opinion would be unfortunate because I think the country, there's a void that's filled. The legal system does not move at the speed of social media, and we see this causing problems all the time. But it's interesting. In the same document, they say the defense...
Yeah, Oracle, there's a consortium of companies. Oracle, Silver Lake, MGX, and maybe one more company. They own like a little over 80% of the company. And then like 18 or 19% is still owned by ByteDance of the USA. Yeah, that's who owns it now.
Reference the massive size of evidence amassed by 28 law enforcement agencies in the case. According to the motion, the discovery in the case includes 20,000 files, 61,500 pages of documents and images, and over 700 hours of video. Not to mention, we also find out that the parents and the trans-identifying boyfriend, Lance Twiggs, are going to be testifying on behalf of the prosecution. And yet, this is what becomes the headline. What do you make of all of that, Justin, when you kind of take it all in together?
Well, it seems obvious that there are people who will latch onto the piece of evidence that they think can be most easily used to confuse people. Like I was getting at earlier, this is a situation where no matter what they said about the bullet in particular, there would be a way for them to spin it to either prove or disprove what they think happened. So unfortunately, all the other evidence, the videos and what have you, none of that.
This guy's definitely a politically motivated shill, I guess is what I was trying to get at. This Phoenix Ammunition guy. Again, I've argued with him several times on TikTok, and it's always about, like, he's all pro Second Amendment unless a leftist gets shot somehow with a gun or whatever. And he's like, well, can't bring a gun to a protest. Really? What if I'm just walking down the road and a protest breaks out?
Viewable by the public. And I think once that does become viewable, it will answer a lot of these questions and, you know, ideally get everybody on the same page. But for the time being, most of the theories on the other side of the table revolve around the idea that it could not have been Tyler Robinson because there's no way that a 30-06 could have caused the damage that it caused without causing more damage. And so,
well, yeah, Justin, a pause right there, because a lot of this has, and I hate going into it on this, but like at some point we have to. Charlie was my friend. He was Blake's friend. He sat in this chair for years.
Resubscribed for 9 months.
Thank you for the resubscription. Appreciate it. 9 months, could have had a baby in that amount of time.
And it's hard to even talk about this because it is graphic in nature.
Holy
Jennifer
shit.
Wink 1718 just gifted 5 subs.
Look out, Hype Train. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the donation. And 100 bits. Appreciate it. From Jeep West 99. Thank you.
But, you know, a lot of this conspiracy stuff goes around no exit wound. Well, there's different types of bullets, and I'm getting educated on this. And when you see fragmentation like this, what does that tell you about the nature of the round itself? What kind of, you know, there's hollow point, there's full metal jacket. Does it tell you something about the type of round and why there wouldn't be an exit wound?
Yeah, it tells me that somebody wanted Charlie Kirk dead. I mean, that's really the long and the short of it. If you're going to assassinate somebody, you would most assuredly use some sort of a hollow point projectile or some other type of projectile that's designed to break into pieces, because that's what causes the most terminal damage on the target. You would not want to use something like a full metal jacket bullet where...
Yeah, I mean, nobody's using full metal jacket for any... Right, full metal jacket is for like targets or a little bit more penetration.
It would pass all the way through the target and leave a relatively small...
Charlie Kirk got shot directly in the fucking neck hole. What does that tell you? Well, somebody was trying to kill him, I believe.
Small entry and possibly small exit wound. So this is exactly what I would expect. I mean, you know, like, you hate to say it, but if you were in a position to politically assassinate somebody, that's exactly the round that you would choose. So it tells me that this is somebody who thought about it a little bit, and decided that they wanted somebody dead, it's consistent with somebody that knows enough about firearms to understand that you're using a hollow point round for things like hunting and self-defense, specifically for that reason, because they expand, they unfold, they break into pieces, and it generally leave no exit wound, because in those cases, the idea is to prevent hitting somebody that's, behind the person that you're...
Basically, all they said was the result of the comparison between the fragment pieces and a test-fired round was inconclusive. That's it.
You're trying to defend yourself from, or causing it to pass all the way through an animal, and perhaps somebody.
I would say that's fine for turtles in your pond for sure.
At worst, passing through and not causing enough damage to either eliminate the threat in the case of a self-defense scenario, or in the case of hunting, to cause the animal to die quickly and humanely. So this is 100% consistent with what I would have expected to hear.
What I've gathered, is that apparently in 40% of cases involving high velocity rounds, they're unable to match a bullet to a weapon because of this fragmentation that happens. Apparently, it's very common. Almost half of the cases you can't match it because the bullet is so badly damaged.
Which I want to really.
Idiot cheered X600.
Thank you for 600 bits. I appreciate it. I don't know that we haven't had a bit donation in so long. I want to make sure the donation alert goes off. Maybe. Let me make sure it goes off. Hold on.
Dive into that because.
Thank you.
Okay, we're still able to. Make conclusions in cases where they can't make that match. And that's what we really should emphasize. The real news of the past few days from these filings from the defense is they're reacting to evidence that the prosecution is planning to present, including at the preliminary hearing, that they want pushed back by 6 months because they're trying to drag this case out as long as possible. At the preliminary hearing, it is reported that the prosecution plans to call Tyler Robinson's parents and Tyler Robinson's furry boyfriend to the stand. So we've seen over and over, it just gets wildly alleged on social media that actually his parents didn't turn him in. Actually, his parents they're not cooperating with police. They've just lied about these things. When in reality, we know from endless documentation, they were involved in turning him in. And now it appears.
Oh, that's it. It's the bow. Okay. Thank you.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ready to testify in the case.
Right.
And that is how we're
I didn't even know which one it was. I was just sitting there waiting on it.
Again,
without a bullet match.
You can't say the casings match, the DNA's match, the markings on the bullet casings match,
the text messages match.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other.
His location matches.
Yeah. Justin, final 30 seconds to you. What do you want people to take away from what we believe is a misleading headline from the Daily Mail?
Yeah, I want people to take away the fact that, again, ballistic science is very inexact at best, and you're dealing with a lot of people on the internet who have no knowledge of it whatsoever. And so it's very easy to, even in court cases, it's very easy to confuse a jury. They discussed ammunition in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and a lot of the information that they presented was false on both sides, actually. So this is not an exact science. This is not something that you can draw 100% conclusions about. This is but one piece of evidence among many, and I wish people would just take a breath and relax.
There you go. Take a breath and relax, he says, while he's literally fighting with people on Twitter, calling them fucking retarded, and they know nothing. And he knows everything. He's asking them for evidence. Like, where's the autopsy? Where are you seeing this at? Where's the ballistic data to back that? But he's not showing any evidence either. He's just guessing as much as he can, but on the other side, right? I'm trying to get these labeled to where I know which one's supposed to go off at when. Hell, it's been so long I've forgotten. Most people use other platforms, but thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. While we're here, I was going to watch this Preston Stewart video anyway, so I'll go ahead and start it.
So we're trending towards total war in the Middle East, which is interesting because the United States has not fought a total war since Vietnam, maybe, might have to go back to Korea or even World War II. It gets nasty. It's nasty fast. And when I say total war, I'm talking about the blurring of distinction between civilian and military on the battlefield. Or put another way, the entire enemy state becomes viable military targets. This is not how the United States has waged war, at least not in my lifetime. That's not how things went in Iraq. That's not how things went in Afghanistan. It is a way to wage war, and make no mistake, it's incredibly brutal and often hard to really understand the second and third order effects. Some historical examples here could be Sherman's March to the Sea in the American Civil War, of course, the strategic bombing campaign of World War II. Think about what some of the German and Japanese cities looked like after the war. We listed anything and everything that could possibly be used to advance the, say, German war effort. It became a viable military target, and we hit it. That is the trend that we're starting to see with U.S. and Israeli targeting during the war in Iran. And make no mistake, Iran started going after civilian targets on day one. So when the U.S. and Israel initiated strikes at the onset of hostilities, the Iranian response was drones and missiles into oil facilities and civilian airports, right? So what we're seeing right now is the United States and Israel effectively saying, if you're not going to play by the rules, then neither are we. And, does that mean that we just see a faster path to a more decisive victory for the stronger side or stronger alliance? Or does it open Pandora's box because we've never really been here before, at least not in modern times, and we don't actually know where this could all go? I mean, we're going to find out one way or the other because this is happening right now. In fact, just a few hours ago, President Trump announced that we've started taking out Iran's bridges. Quote, the biggest bridge in Iran comes tumbling down, never to be used again. Much more to follow. It is time for Iran to make a deal before it's too late, and there's nothing left of what could still become a great country. Axios added some context here, saying the attack on the B-1 bridge near Tehran signals a widening of the U.S. military's targets and could be a first step towards attack on energy, water, and transportation infrastructure. They quoted a U.S. defense official saying the bridge was attacked because it was used by the Iranian armed forces to try to secretly move missiles and missile parts from Tehran to launch sites in western Iran.
Thank you very much.
The IRGC issued a statement naming 8 bridges across the Middle East in Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Jordan, and Israel, saying maybe we should knock those down if you're going to start knocking ours down. And this gets tricky. All right, so we're talking about kind of the elimination of norms, maybe is another way to put this, taking the gloves off. And you know, bridges are viable military targets. The way that the U.S. defense official explained that bridge made it a viable military target. And this goes back throughout time. Like, those are sensitive locations for any military. And it's no different here. So if that was used by the Iranian military, then yes, it is a viable target. It can be destroyed. You want to take that ability away from them, limit their ability to maneuver. In this case, you could refer to it as dual use, because bridges generally can also be used for civilian purposes and not just military. But what you're seeing when we see a move towards total war is not automatically everything is illegal, or not everything is a violation or a war crime. It's just an expansion of what becomes acceptable. So last week, we weren't hitting bridges. Last week, we weren't hitting desalination points. Last week, we weren't hitting overtly civilian infrastructure. Total war opens that up, and we start to see more and more of that. In fact, Israel, on their side of things, has a great example where just yesterday they announced they had a pharmaceutical facility. Quote, the IDF struck a factory that systematically transferred chemical substances to the Iranian terror regime designated for the development of chemical weapons. The factory, which presented itself as a civilian company, in practice transferred to the Iranian terror regime chemical substances, including fentanyl, that were used for research and development of chemical weapons. The New York Times added some additional commentary here, starting with a quote from the Iranian foreign minister, so recognize the sourcing here. Quote, he said that Israel was openly and unashamedly bombing pharmaceutical companies. They quoted the head of an economic think tank, the Boris and Bazaar Foundation, which tracks the Iranian economy, who said that a dual-use argument would not hold up if the entire site was demolished. Quote, if you're destroying a pharmaceutical facility, even if you could identify that certain chemicals might be used for military purposes, it doesn't really matter because it's not even collateral damage. The primary damage is civilian, the collateral is military. This is what I want you to think about when we're talking about total war. Again, separate out the legal versus illegal aspect of conflict, because, I mean, the pessimistic side of me says that doesn't even matter unless somebody's going to enforce it, and nobody is. That's kind of where we are. So you can make those arguments all you want. I just don't know how much it actually carries weight right now. The bigger issue here is we're going to see Iran starting to go after more and more targets that maybe otherwise would not have been in the crosshairs. I mean, right now, just yesterday, Iran put out a statement saying that they are going to start targeting technology companies that are helping the United States and Israel in their targeting during the war. They listed out a number. I'll put it on the screen here, including things like Apple, Microsoft, and Google. I don't know how deep the Apple ties are to the U.S. Department of Defense. I mean, that one's not clear to me. So you can see how this expansion just continues. Is it because some people use iPhones, right? Maybe that's enough to say that Apple is complicit in the bombings that are taking place in Iran. But that is what total war gets you. I mean, another example here would be, what about children being used to assemble drones in factories? There's very few scenarios where anybody would say a child is a viable military target. Talk about a 7 or 8 year old, right? Unless they're holding a weapon, getting ready to fire it at you. In total war, the argument quickly shifts to, well, they are assisting the Iranian war effort. They become viable military targets. Again, think of the destruction, some of the aftermath in Japan and Germany following World War II. And a lot of the argumentation made there was the entire society was contributing towards the war effort. They were assembling parts in some of these little warehouses or even private homes. So the entire thing becomes an acceptable military target. That is the trend of total war. We're starting to see that a little bit. We have to pay attention, because when we start going that route, Iran is already going that route with limited capacity compared to what the U.S. and Israel has. But when we go down that route as well, it's kind of like all bets are off, is a good way to put it.
It's all working now.
Evil people.
Evil people.
Evil people. Evil people.
Okay, everything's connected, working now.
And it sounds like we're set to continue here. President Trump in recent days just said, quote, if there is no deal.
It's almost like 2 washed up TV celebrities planned the war in Iran. Like, I would never do that, but it sounds like that.
We're going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. Again, very hard to make the argument that any electrical plant in Iran is exclusively military. Right? So you're seeing that blurring of the lines between civilian and military. And if
like, you could make this argument if there's like a military base that was specifically, like, they built a power plant just to do a military base, or generators or backup, or the grid, like a power station that just runs exclusively to a military training facility. You can't do that when our power plants go everywhere, right? It's a war crime.
That one is not clear-cut enough. He just yesterday said, quote, if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of the electrical generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island.
Patriot missile systems are very good. They can become overwhelmed Mistakes can happen and shit, but they are very good.
Possibly all desalinization plants, which we've purposely not yet touched. So that's how a lot of folks in the Middle East get drinking water. When those are destroyed, the area becomes uninhabitable for a period of time. At least for the number of people that are there right now, these are overtly civilian targets. So again, we just have to keep in mind how it goes from a missile launcher is very clearly military. Nobody's going to argue that one, right? An air defense radar, very clearly military. When you start getting into bridges, pharmaceutical factories, you're on that trend line towards desalination plants and energy infrastructure, and now we are genuinely targeting the entire country. Now, this is kind of in line with what Secretary Hegseth said yesterday following President Trump's speech, where he reiterated that we're ready to bomb Iran back to the Stone Age. And the argument being made here, and I know where this is coming from, is that it's time to take the gloves off, that we've kind of been fighting with one hand tied behind our back. And look, there are some examples from the war that I was in Afghanistan, where the Taliban would go back across the border into Pakistan during the winter months. Like the vegetation was gone. It was hard for them in the south. I was in Kandahar. It was hard for them to hide in the vegetation down there. So they just went back to Pakistan. And we knew it. Like the fighting would effectively stop for about a 3 to 4 month period of time. And then they would come back and we start fighting again. What? And I had countless friends fighting up the eastern portion of Afghanistan where they would get shelled from the Pakistani side of the border and they couldn't shoot back because that's Pakistan. You could see the Taliban. That feels wrong. That is one arm tied behind our back. Like, what are we even doing here? It's like a half war is probably a good way to put it. But the big question remains here. Let's stick with the Afghanistan example. If we were to say we're expanding the war into Pakistan, we're going to start putting American outposts there. We're going to start conducting, we did hit a number of Taliban and Al-Qaeda targets with drones, but if we had pushed the ground war into Pakistan a little bit, 1 mile, 2 miles, 10 miles, what would that have done? Would that have made the conflict shorter, less bloody? Maybe some sort of victory at the 5, 10, 15-year mark? Or does that expand and kind of escalate the conflict in ways that we can't even imagine? We don't know because it didn't happen, but that's the kind of thing that's happening right now in Iran. Norms are off the table. So we're starting to see it would not have been considered a few short weeks ago that Iran might go after Google or Apple because of the war in the Middle East, because of U.S. military actions. That's now on the table.
A lot of them, some of them supposedly for the Golden Dome, and thought about it before making them military target. Oh, I know a lot of AI plants plan on having their own power generation.
We might start seeing bridges knocked down across the Middle East. You can see how this just continues to spread and spread and spread. So right now, it looks to me at least, and we should recognize this, that we are in the midst of a spiral towards total war. And that's not the type of conflict that we have traditionally fought. I don't know how well that will go over with the American people. And if I had to read between the lines, I would say there's a bit of a disagreement between, say, the White House and the Pentagon on how this is playing out, or at least the White House and the military, maybe is a better way to put it. Because when you look at what the White House is saying, what President Trump is saying, he's talking about what would be like civilian infrastructure that we're going after. That is total war. It is waging war on the entire nation of Iran, far beyond just the ruling regime. When you look at what CENTCOM continues to put out in their announcements, Admiral Cooper and General Kane, and the videos being released day in and day out, it's all overtly military targets. It's not even a question, right? Everything they're putting out is a missile launcher with the missile loaded on the back. It's a clear naval vessel. It is an Iranian drone sitting on the taxiway getting ready to take off. So the military continues to focus, their PR at least, on exclusively military targets. But from the civilian side of things, we're hearing more and more of bridges, electrical facilities, oil fields, desalination points. And I wonder if that's a bit of a rift right now in how the strategy is playing out. Again, we haven't waged a total war since Vietnam. It gets very nasty very quickly, and it looks like that's the path we're headed down right now. And one last thing, actually, we just stood up a Substack. That link will be in the description below for anyone interested. I think it's a great platform. They're doing a really good job.
Yeah, EDWA is the logic system that decides the optimum launcher, missile, which one should engage it, where at, whatever. It's pretty good.
Job over there, but we're consolidating content. So the short form, long form interviews, research throughout the day, links to all these different channels and podcasts and articles that go into making the videos. They're all there along with the community chat, and everything's free. The only thing that we charge for is the ability to start a new thread in the community chat. But everything else, like just hop over there, check it out. I think Substack's done a really good job in the last couple of years. So if interested, that link will be in the description below. That's all we got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.
Don't look great. I don't think we should be boots on the ground, but it seems like we're barreling towards it.
My friend, great show.
And this is why. Anybody can flatter Trump into making any decision they want him to make. Watch.
My friend, great show. I love this guy. He's so nice to me every time I watch. And I appreciate, we're not supposed to be seduced that way, right? But I am. When somebody's nice to me, I love that person. Even if they're bad people, I couldn't care less. I'll fight to the end for them. So I appreciate it. My friend, great show.
Literally, he says the quiet part out loud. Like, you can seduce me. Give me a peace award, make up an award for me, compliment my hair. When we saw this with Mom Donnie, you guys saw before they met up, how fucking irate Trump was about Mom Donnie, and he's a communist, he's going to destroy it, we won't send him any federal funding, blah, blah, blah. And now Mom Donnie's got him to agree to a federal housing program in New York City. That's insane. Compliment him. Make up some type of award that you can give to him that he's the only recipient of. Talk about how much better he is than Obama, right? And just stay on his ass that way, and then let him think he came up with the idea to help you.
My friend, great show. I love this guy. He's so nice to me every time I watch. And
Mom Donnie showed up with a fake newspaper that says Trump tackles housing in New York, in the city, or something. And then a real newspaper of a different president who refused funding for New York City housing. He's like, you don't want to be this guy, do you?
Every time I watch, and I appreciate, we're not supposed to be seduced that way, right? But I am. When somebody's nice to me, I love that person. Even if they're bad people, I couldn't care less. I'll fight to the end for them.
Even if they're bad people, I couldn't care less. I'll fight for the end for them. I'm seduced. He says it.
So I appreciate it.
Everybody laughs, but it's the truth. You can manipulate the fuck out of him. I've been saying it since the beginning. He's too easy to manipulate. 1,000%. Also, I think we forgot about this campaign promise, right?
50 states.
If you win in November, can you commit to...
This is the famous quote of childcare is childcare.
If you win in November.
If they want people to work, they want to convince people that there's welfare queens and people sucking on the system, and that's the majority of people on food stamps and government assistance and government housing, blah, blah, blah. Give them childcare and put them to fucking work, dude. But right now, if you work like a shitty job, if you don't have a decent job, especially if you're a single parent, but even if you're married, me and Mariah, this was me and my wife 10 goddamn years ago, used to discuss like, hey, you have to be making at least this dollar amount or it's not even worth it. And that's not including time and energy and everything. This is just dollar amounts you have to make to clear child care. It's getting it fucking extreme, right? If you're not making $30+ an hour, you can't afford to have your child in child care. That's not counting the time, the running, the sickness, the ins and outs, the hurdles you have to jump through, signing them up, taking them there, the gas. But anyways, child care is child care.
If you win in November, can you commit?
Yeah, because Mariah wanted to work to have something to do, and I don't blame her. But I'm like, look, get a hobby, because like you would have, at one point, she would have had to been making more an hour than I was making. Like, that's crazy.
If you win in November, can you commit to prioritizing legislation to make childcare affordable? And if so, what specific piece of legislation will you advance?
Well, I would do that. Childcare is childcare. There's something, you have to have it. In this country, you have to have it. We're going to make this into an incredible country that can afford to take care of its people, and then we'll worry about the rest of the world. Let's help other people. But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America first. We can't.
Child care is child care. You have to have it. Child care is child care. You have to have it. We're going to do it. We're going to make it affordable. You have to have it. And then we'll worry about everybody else. Now it's, hey, we got a war going on, bro. We can't afford child care.
But we're going to take care of our country first. This is about America.
Intoxicating hemp products and THC-infused beverages are now illegal again in Ohio, and the maximum potency of extracts is lower due to a law that took effect on March the 20th. Ohio voters legalized recreational marijuana and related products when they passed Issue 2 in 2023. Republican lawmakers vowed almost immediately to roll back parts of it, and they made good on that late last year, passing new restrictions mostly along party lines. Here are some of the changes, including new potential criminal penalties for not transporting personal stashes correctly, bringing THC products across state lines, or toking in public. I don't know. Tennessee won't do shit with legalizing marijuana. It's crazy. But here we go.
Care of our country first. This is about America first. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes.
We were going to do it. Daycare is daycare. You got to have it. Got to make it affordable. We got to do it. We're at war. Bro, we're at war. Seems like all this went into effect on the 20th. I see some lawmaker. Oh, it's the governor. holds up nerd candies and nerd THC infused knockoff nerds called Nerdy Bars or Nerdy Bears or something. He looks very upset.
They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up for.
It helps a lot of people with PTSD. It helps Mariah. She doesn't have PTSD. Well, she probably does from her childhood, but she's not diagnosed with PTSD. But it helps Mariah, calms her down, makes her happier, makes her enjoy the day more, not to fixate on shit. It doesn't work for me because I get so paranoid on it. But I'm probably an outlying case, right? I'm not the norm.
Should pay for it, and we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up for, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things.
So Medicaid and Medicare too? Holy fuck.
You can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country.
Donald Trump believes that the federal government's job, their only role, is to guard the country from other countries he's made mad, apparently. And that's where he stays. We also had this coming in hot. They're finding that not everybody in the military just wants to go along with their retarded plans, right? With their war crimes, with their boots on the ground mentality. Not everybody just wants to go along with it. So we saw when they were bombing all the boats, right? They had to fire some of the leadership. Now they're in Iran, they're firing leadership.
So Secretary Hegseth just asked the Chief of Staff of the Army, General George, to step down from his position and accept immediate retirement. This is being reported by CBS News, where they have a senior Defense Department official saying, quote, "We are grateful for his service, but it was time for a leadership change in the Army." Now, General George is the senior most uniformed official in the U.S. Army. So above him, you end up with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, and then you've got the chain of command up through the president. But the top officer in the U.S. Army was, I guess technically still is, General George. Now, a couple key notes here. First off, that is generally a 4-year position. He was nominated to the role in 2023 by President Biden, which means he generally would have had another year and a half before he was replaced and moved on. So this is early. There's no indication that there was any strife or not really any reporting on issues between he and Secretary Hegseth. It's notable, though, because this is the senior-most U.S. military official to leave service since the war in Iran began. And, of course, this is the largest war that the U.S. has been engaged in 20-plus years, so any departure is notable. There's no indication and no reporting as to what caused this. All right, so there's going to be a lot of speculation in coming days. I would expect General George has been a true professional through and through. Don't expect him to be running and leaking to sources and
Hell, they even fired the head of the chaplain corps, his Major General Green, I think, and the guy that's in front of TRADOC, the training command or whatever, General George Hode, or I can't remember his name. Anyways, they fired both those generals too.
Podcasts and interviews the minute he steps out of service. I would expect him to be pretty tight-lipped on what did or did not happen here. That, of course, is going to leave plenty of room for the spin and people to take this in any number of different directions. But as of this reporting, as of right now, there's no indication at all as to what prompted Secretary Hegseth to ask General George to step down. So Secretary Hegseth just asked the Chief of Staff of the Army.
They're going to temporarily, I don't know if it'll be permanent or not. They're putting, it's Hegseth's military aide, which is General, Lanev. I don't know if that's how you say his name. Lanev, I think. Lanev. That's who the assistant is, and that he's currently Hegseth's military aide, but he'll be taking the role until something else, until they put somebody in permanently or make him permanently or something. I don't know. But basically, I think the guy just buddied up with Hegseth because he spends every day with him. He's his direct military aide, and called in a few favors.
General George to step down.
Don't know. This is probably not the time you want to be firing leadership, though.
All right, so we're seeing a bit of a shift towards total war in the Middle East, which would be interesting, to say the least, because the United States has not fought a total war since maybe Vietnam, might have to go back to Korea or World War II. And when I say total war, I'm talking about kind of the blurring.
Imagine Trump talking about how much pressure he has to put on Iran to get them to sign a deal, but also claiming that they're begging for a deal. Like, he contradicts himself so fucking much, dude.
Distinction between civilian and military on the battlefield, or essentially the entire enemy state becomes a viable military target. That is not how the United States has waged war, at least not in my lifetime, not in Iraq, not in Afghanistan. That is a way to wage war, but it gets messy, and it gets messy fast. I mean, some historic examples here would be Sherman's March to the Sea during the American Civil War, or strategic bombing campaigns during World War II, where we went after anything and everything that could possibly help the German or the Japanese war effort. In turn, you saw entire cities razed to the ground. Just a few hours ago, President Trump announced that we have taken down a bridge in Iran, which in itself is not like a major big deal, but it does give us a bit of a trend in that direction towards total war.
I saw Tiger Woods crashed again.
President Trump announced, quote, "The biggest bridge in Iran comes tumbling down, never to be used again. Much more to follow. It is time for Iran to make a deal before it is too late, and there's nothing left of what could still become a great country." Axios added some context here, saying that this signals a widening of the U.S. military's targets and could be a first step towards attacks on energy, water, and transportation infrastructure. They added a defense official told him that the bridge was hit because it was being used to move missiles from Tehran to launch points in the western portion of the country. And this is something I want to stress is destroying bridges is a viable military objective. Throughout history, bridges are very important in war. So just going after a bridge itself, even if it is dual use, is not necessarily illegal or a war crime or anything like that. But you're starting to see more and more talk about these dual use facilities, or like hardly dual use desalination points, for instance, that make drinking water for large portions of the Middle East. President Trump 2 days ago threatened to go after those. He's threatened to go after the energy infrastructure. This is really blurring that line between what is a military target and what is trying to essentially target the entire country, like all of the people that are there. Now, through this end, it's not just, Iran started in this route. I should mention that their opening response to U.S. and Israeli strikes was going after civilian infrastructure. All right, they missiles and drones fired at the oil facilities and civilian airports.
Yeah, but they're the bad guys. We expect that, right? We're supposed to be the good guys.
Across the Middle East, but it sounds like they're going to take this and just run with it.
But not Israel. The Israeli government kind of seems to always be the bad guys. But
after the bridge was hit, they put out the names of 8 different bridges from Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Jordan, and Israel, saying, hey, maybe it's time that those go down as well. So it does look right now.
He did. I don't know if he actually called Trump, but he does tell the cops in the video. We'll watch the video. We'll watch the body cam if you guys want to. He's like, sorry, guys, I was just on the phone with the president. No big deal.
Like, we're in the middle of this spiral where, they also said they're going to go after like Google and Apple and Microsoft, anyone who's assisting the United States military in targeting. So again, an expansion of the target sets, an expansion of what is considered viable military targets, not just with the United States and Israel, but also with Iran at this point, does kind of signal a bit of a shift into more of a total war. All right, so we're seeing a bit of a shift towards total war. All right, so President Trump addressed the nation last night talking about the war in Iran and didn't really say anything. Like, there wasn't anything breaking coming out of that. There were a lot of leaks leading up to it that this was going to be an announcement that we were putting boots on the ground or hammering our allies and kind of coming up with an ultimatum of if NATO doesn't go and open the Strait of Hormuz, then, I don't know, we're out of the alliance or something. He can't do that, but that seems like a promise that, or a threat that would be made. Or maybe even an announcement that the war is over, that we've accomplished all of our goals and we're coming home. The talk was about 20 minutes, and it was just things that we've heard before, like in other press conferences, like word for word statements that he has issued on Truth Social. Like, it's sometimes kind of reading those. So we didn't really learn anything. We know that operations are set to continue for at least another 2-3 weeks, which, look, I don't know how much stock you can put in that. President Trump has used the two-week window before to mean, like, actually in 2 weeks we're going to do something, all the way to it's just code for we're never going to talk about this again. We probably are going to keep talking about the war in Iran. We still have a lot of service members in harm's way. Operations are very much still ongoing. Iran is still launching drones and missiles, and they still have effectively shut down the Strait of Hormuz. So we're not going to be able to just move on from this one, like maybe some other issues. But the argument last night, largely...
Bro, you're just doing too much, man. Just chill out. Relax. Watch the fucking show.
Was we had to do this. It's very early, comparing the duration of this conflict to World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Iraq, saying in comparison, we're just getting started here. But at the same time, just 2 to 3 more weeks and we'll be should be pretty close to wrapping this up. So it's difficult right now to look at any of these statements in wartime coming from the administration and really peg a lot of significance to it. Last night, I think there was a lot of kind of hope that we would get something new, maybe different than what's been stated in the past, whichever direction you thought it might go, right? Whether it was a buildup of forces and the ground troops are coming, which they are continuing to flow overseas, or if it was going to be we've reached
they are.
and we're coming.
Israel told him to.
None of that, really. Kind of just walk the line of reading Truth Social posts, honestly, is like the majority of what that conversation was. So we'll keep watching and see as the war continues to develop. All right, so President Trump addressed the nation last night talking about the war in Iran and didn't really say anything. Like, there wasn't... All right, so the last couple days, Russia has been losing aircraft and oil fields.
All right, I'm done. Go fucking chill out somewhere else. Holy shit, dude. I don't know if you just get shit-faced drunk. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. It's too much. It's too much.
another interesting direction is ad int. So ad for like in advertising. So when we can well.
All right. So to understand the Tiger Woods,
You know what always
crash, we need to understand the first crash. And most people don't have the backstory of the first crash. So the first crash, Tiger Woods wasn't trying to drive. Okay, I'll tell you that much. He wasn't trying to drive. He was trying to stay at home and relax. But his wife busted him cheating on her.
You know what always tripped me up about that whole Tiger Woods cheating on his wife thing? It was how his wife reacted. So before it came out he was cheating with a bunch
Texas is booming.
He was cheating with one woman. Cool, no biggie. His wife is in the grocery store. She looks at a magazine. She sees Tiger Woods is cheating. She goes, oh, that's weird. So she just go home. She goes, Tiger.
Yeah, I remember him from back in the day, but he's just doing too much right now.
He goes, hey, what's good, girl?
Way too much.
What's good? But then Tiger leaves the room and leaves his phone. Mistake number one. She says, don't mind if I do. She picks up the phone. She hears a voicemail talking about, I love you this, I love you that. So she calls back and says,
So he got busted cheating with a different woman.
Tiger again, and you finna see me. Tiger comes back. He goes, you good? She goes, I'm straight. He starts getting suspicious. She leaves a voicemail and says, hey, bro, I think my wife is on to me, man. Delete my number, all that. Cool. Tiger finna go to sleep. His wife looks at him and goes, good night, Tiger. He goes, huh? Yeah, good night. He takes his Ambien pills because he's an insomniac. He can't sleep.
And hydrocodone.
She says, bet, mistake number two, clown boy. She takes his phone. She reads another message. The message is from Tiger to the lady talking about you the only one I ever loved. She cool as a fan. She sends another message talking about, hey girl, the mistress responds like, oh, Tiger, you up? She calls the mistress. She said, didn't I tell your ass not to respond? You don't like to listen, huh? Now it's up. His wife begins to scream. Tiger wakes up, grabs his phone and runs into the bathroom, asks no questions. His wife goes outside the bathroom door talking about, yeah, boy, come outside. I ain't gonna jump you. Tiger says, oh, nah, you good. He sends a text to the lady talking about, hey man, I think I'm about to divorce her. I think it's up. His wife goes, Tiger, I'm gonna count to 0.5. You better open this door. He opens the door. He says, hey, yeah, what's up? She snatches his phone, says, give me that phone, little boy. She reads the messages. She reads the messages and sees the word divorce. She looks up at Tiger.
He was telling one of his mistresses that he was planning on getting divorced and they were going to get married and he'd be with her, blah, blah, blah. And she found all this. She chased him out of the house. That's why he was driving that night, the first night.
I'm 6'1". She about my height. Oh, she kind of big. She bigger than I thought. Boom! Hits Tiger in his thing. Tiger goes, whoa, slow down. You're not acting like yourself. Throws the phone at him. Chips his tooth. Starts going crazy on him. He looks up and says, you finished? Sees her standing there with a golf club. He says, oh, nah. Takes off.
He already took his pain medicine. He already took it. He had been through a surgery recently. Pain medicine, muscle relaxer, and Ambien. And she chases his ass out of the house with a golf club.
She chases him outside the house with a golf club.
Yeah.
Boy hops in the whip, takes off. But remember, he's on that Ambien. Boy.
So everybody just thought he got a DUI. And even at the DUI, the first body cam, like his wife's there being like, oh, he's not like this. He was just blah, blah, blah. Like trying to help him out, like not be in trouble. But she caused it all. Well, he caused it all. She helped facilitate it.
Woozy has probably got a CTE as well. He crashes the whip. She finds him. She pulls him outside and apologizes. Psych, she starts breaking the windows with the golf club. The neighbors come outside talking about, what's with all the hubbub? She goes, Tiger crashed the whip. Call the cops. The cops come. They say, what happened? She says, Tiger crashed the whip. Call the ambulance. The ambulance come. They say, hey man, this don't look right. She said, Tiger crashed the whip. They said, them windows sure look smashed out. She said,
she beat every fucking window out of the car.
I tried to break the windows.
After he crashed.
If Tiger, he crashed the whip. They said, okay.
She told the police that she couldn't get him out of the car, so she broke all the windows to try to get him out. She didn't know if he was going to catch on fire or anything, but she was trying to kill him.
Man, wait right there. We finna take him to the hospital. She said, all right, I'm coming. They said, you just take a separate car. The police try to do an investigation. Tiger and his wife said they're not cooperating, and it probably would have been a happy end. But damn, the mistress schedules an interview. Tiger says, slow down. I'm gonna give you $10 million if you shut your mouth. She shuts her mouth. All of a sudden, 14 other women say, 10 million. What? Yeah, all sorts of women from certain industries come out.
That's what caused all the Tiger Woods women to come out. That's how he ended up in Hattiesburg in some type of sex reformation therapy.
Hey man, where the money at? They start snitching. Tiger loses all his deals, so he holds a press conference going into shocking detail about 122 women. Look at his mom, bro. And at the end of it all, his wife said she was probably going to stay until woman number 15 came out, and that was the end of that. Hey bro, you know what always tripped me up?
So that was his first one, okay? That was his first crash. It wasn't alcohol, right? It was a DUI, but it was on his what the fuck? It was his pain pills, muscle relaxers, all his shit. Now we've got a more recent crash that happened, and the body cam just come out. So DUI, arrest, body cam. This is also a DUI. Get some audio for you. Here we go.
Down.
My boy just taking a knee.
And all of a sudden, boom.
So the first thing he says is, I just looked down at my phone. All of a sudden, boom.
I'm gonna just take a look there. I go in and just like take. Is this comfortable for you? Yeah. You're all right. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, really? I happened to be in Hattiesburg when the press leaked that he was in Hattiesburg at a sex therapy clinic thing.
Yeah. They're all right. Why don't you have the captain respond? I don't feel anything out of the ass.
I'm glad you did whatever you had to do to, straighten your life out and keep it straight or whatever. I don't know that I could afford $60,000.
We're still gonna have our medic come and check you out, all right? Yeah. All right. Disregard that. So 18 secure that. All right. You're done? No, I'm set. Yeah. He's okay. I just checked for anything on his back. I didn't feel anything. No, that's him. I'm right here. You're right here. I helped him. Who hit him? He hit the tree. I don't know. So he kept coming. Okay. I tried to look. Okay. And you were in this vehicle? So you were stopped? I was getting ready to turn in. I don't think he was looking. That's the thing. Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It hit the trailer, I don't know if I gotta take this tire. I don't even know if I can drive it out of here. Right? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna move my car up here. I'm gonna block all this. Yeah. Tell that biker you gotta go the other way. You're gonna have to go back around.
Did it?
Yeah, everybody. You're gonna have to go back around.
That is cool. I think sometimes so the time that they locked me up in the VA for being crazy, I don't think they take into account like the mental toll and that nicotine has. They wanted to give me a nicotine patch, and I'm like, it's not the same, dude. I dipped at the time. I'm like, it's not the same. Just having something stuck in my jaw is something that calms me, relaxes me. Y'all trying to lock me up like I'm fucking crazy back here, putting me in goddamn leg shackles and shit. Like, I need something. They're like, well, we'll give you 2 patches. I'm like, no. I smuggled in a can of Red Seal into it. God damn, you're too much. Why is everybody too fucking much, dude? We're watching Tiger Woods. You can't fucking drop all the fucking Jew bullshit for god damn. What is wrong with y'all? I fucking hate Easter. And Jesus. Fuck off.
Are we good? Well, good evening, and thank you for being here. I'm going to give you a rundown on a crash that happened a few hours ago here on Jupiter Island, and I really will tell you everything that I know at this time.
Y'all are too much. When your whole goddamn life is tied up into, did you hear what the Jews did?
So just before 2 p.m. today, the Jupiter Island Police Department, which is where we currently are, received a call of a rollover crash about 2.5 miles from where we are. The Jupiter Island Police Department responded out there and found a pickup truck pulling a pressure cleaner trailer and a Land Rover, which was rolled over on the driver's door, and we're going to provide you photos of that. The investigation started, and initially, right off the top, it did appear that the driver of the Land Rover might be impaired. And at that point, the Chief Ewing of Jupiter Island Police Department called me from the Martin County Sheriff's Office and asked for our assistance. It wasn't that the Jupiter Island Police Department isn't fully capable of doing these types of investigations, but quite frankly, the Sheriff's Office has a lot more repetitions in these traffic crashes.
I just don't understand why they just don't find a stream. There's tons of fucking stream. Deviled eggs are pretty good. Mariah makes a mean deviled egg. Everybody thinks it's some type of secret recipe or some shit. She just Googled it. She doesn't even eat deviled eggs. She doesn't even know what they're supposed to taste like, but my family loved them. First time she made them, so they make her make them every time. Anyways, there's plenty of streams where you can just go yell about Jews, dude. This ain't it. This ain't it. But I guarantee you could go to fucking Rumble or Kick or some shit and find hundreds where everybody's in there like, "Do you hear what the Jews did?" And you just fit right in. I don't get it.
And these types of investigations. Our investigation revealed as follows. Shortly again before 2, the pressure cleaner truck pulling a trailer, a small trailer, was northbound on South Beach Road and was pulling kind of to turn into a driveway. It was slowing down, starting to turn into a driveway. And the driver of that vehicle looked in his mirror and saw a Land Rover, a dark-colored Land Rover, overtaking him at high speeds, and I don't know those speeds. The Land Rover kept overtaking him. He saw it coming, so he tried to edge off to the side of the road, but this is a small 2-lane road, and there was no...
Did it show the point? I was yelling at these people. Did it show the point where he walks away and then claims that he called the president? I wasn't even paying attention. He walks away and they tell him to stay. Let's watch it again. The body cam footage. Now that I'm fucking done with the Jew people. God damn.
My phone, and all of a sudden, boom.
Boom.
Let me just take a look at it. I'm going to just take. Is this comfortable for you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't feel anything out of the asshole. We're still gonna have our medic come and check you out, all right? Yeah.
So they did a breathalyzer, and his alcohol was 000. Right, he didn't have any alcohol in his system. But then they do like a piss or a blood test, like a urine or a blood test. He refused those, so he knew, right? Plus, I think they found a couple pills in his pocket.
He's okay. I just checked for anything on his back. I didn't do anything.
It's crazy looking. Like it's perfectly in the lane. It's just on its side.
No, that's him. I'm right here. You're right here. I know. Who hit him? He hit the trailer. So he kept coming. Okay. I tried to look at it. You're in this vehicle? So you were stopped.
Yeah, we have that same test that it's the inside of the jaw they usually swab, like a mouth swab. They're not super accurate. I know guys that would smoke meth in the parking lot, use some fucking mouth rinse, like some Listerine, and go past those goddamn mouth swabs like an hour later. Crazy.
I don't think he was looking, that's the thing. Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It hit the trailer, you know. I don't know if I gotta take this tire. I don't even know if I can drive it out of here. Right? Yeah. I don't know.
So this guy's just a pressure washing contractor. He's got nothing to do with it.
I'm gonna put my car up here. I gotta block all this. Yeah. Tell that biker you gotta go the other way. You're gonna have to go back around. Everybody? Yeah, everybody. Okay. You're gonna have to go back around.
No, that's not that. I want to see the rest of it then. Hold on, sorry. There's more to it, trust me. So I thought we got shorted. I was sitting in a meeting one time. I don't want to say the company I was working for, but at the time I was pretty high up, at least on job sites. Like I wasn't high up in the company, but like at a job site, I was like the number 2 person in charge of the job site. There's one guy above me. We were sitting at a job site one time, and it was me, the guy that's directly above me on a job site. So number 1 and 2 at a job site, the owner of the company safety guy, and the site safety guy. And they started talking about this, that, blah, 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 whatever. And we were talking about the job and how it was going. And the job site safety guy said, well, I don't know, but there's been rumors. I've been hearing rumors. And everybody's like, what rumors? He's like, I've just been hearing rumors that these guys are going out and partying. I'm like, they're construction workers, dude. What do you mean they're going? Of course they're going out and partying. Like half of them pass out, for the night, like an hour before they have to be at work. That just happens, right? I mean, want to be safe, don't get nobody hurt, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, I don't know. I just think that we got to do something about this. And the main safety guy asked the job site safety guy, well, what would you suggest? And he said drug test. And the main safety guy said, we do drug tests. We do a percentage, we do random, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, I mean 100% drug test. And the main safety guy looked at him like he was fucking crazy. 100% drug test? 100? You want to test 100% of our workforce? And the owner of the company said, well, that's all well and good, you know. We were just spitballing ideas, but there's one issue. And the guy's like, what? And he said, unless me and you are going to go out there by ourselves and build this fucking power plant, there's no goddamn way we're testing 100% of the guys. There's no way. We'd run off the whole fucking 300 guys would be gone that evening. No fucking way. 100% drug test. Get the fuck out of here. Half of them are fueled off nothing but narcotics. That's how the country was built. All right, let's get some sound. This is bothering me. The silence should be at 30-second mark. Okay.
Tell me what happened.
I milk my thistle twice a day, whether I need it or not. Sometimes Mariah will help me milk it. But yeah, good thistle milking is one way to take the edge off, if you know what I mean. Milk it in the shower, you don't have to lube it up as much. Less cleanup too. You just hose it off. Yeah. Strap your piss to your leg, keep it in your lunchbox, and a couple of hand warmers. And when anything was different, like the safety man moved different, the meeting was different, there was people on the job site that usually weren't there, that's when they go into full panic mode, start popping fucking hand warmers, strapping shit to their thigh. They're out here pissing 185 degrees.
Rescue come here to check anybody out? Boat drivers? Okay. Boat drivers refused? Okay.
I had a guy one time, and we were at a power plant or whatever, and this guy was fucking trying to quit. We call it dragging up. And they pissed him off somehow or whatever, and I just came around the corner and he was already in the middle of it. He's arguing with a plant guy, and we're contractors at the plant. And the plant guy's like, no, you can't do that. We need you, man. He's like, fuck this. Load my box. I'm dragging the fuck up. And the guy said, well, we'll have to hire somebody to replace you. And he said, you better fucking get somebody here because I'm leaving. I'm done. Load my shit. I'm dragging this motherfucker. And the plant guy said, well, you know, there's a guard at the gate. And the guard won't open the gate to let you out unless I tell him. And I'm not going to let him let you out. And the guy said, well, you better hire 2 motherfuckers. And the plant guy just looked at him. He said, one guy to replace me and another guy to fix that fucking gate because I'm about to run through that motherfucker.
So no injuries for both drivers. Perfect. And so driver 1's here. Where's driver 2? Okay. Alrighty. And driver 2 can put driver 1 behind the wheel. Still occupant.
You already have one out by the Okay, so we're gonna have it.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty.
That's right.
Did anybody get photos?
Load my box, baby.
You ready?
That's just cops talking to each other. I'm trying to get to the next part. He walks away at one point, and he comes walking back, and they're like, you need to stay over here, Mr. Woods. Of course, he gets the Mr. Woods, right? They'd be like, hey, fat ass, if it was me. Hey, chubby, come over here. What are you doing? Anyways, come back, Mr. He's like, oh, I was just talking to the president. Gotta fucking flip his car back over.
You got it? Okay, perfect.
That'd be a good way to change half your tires.
You're good then. You're good. Pictures already. Yeah. Sorry, do you know who driver 2 is? Are you the driver of the first vehicle? Okay. Can you tell me what happened?
So I was getting ready to turn to the property, and I slowed down, and I tried to step on him. He didn't see me.
Okay.
And I tried to pull in as quick as I could and just kept
And you had your signal on?
Yes.
Okay, so you weren't completely stopped. You were still moving?
I was getting ready to stop.
Okay. Just traveling there slowly?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you got to let people know on this island that you're slowing down.
100%.
And I work out a lot of time.
Okay.
I just don't think you slow down.
Okay, after the collision, what happened?
I stopped, obviously. This thing fell over. Another guy kind of pulled up after that.
It'll buff out.
I'm like, he's in there. They open the door.
His rear windshield wiper's going.
Go in the back.
So the passenger door, can you describe the driver? Okay, in the black SUV? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I mean, this would be devastating to normal people, but Tiger Woods could buy a fucking fleet of these motherfuckers. He could single-handedly buy all the goddamn Land Rovers that are produced this year.
He was the only one in the vehicle? Yes. Okay. And he was only you in the vehicle? Yes. Okay.
One for each mistress. 150 of them motherfuckers.
Not injured, are you? Perfect.
I got everything for the accident. Yeah. He missed, like, he could have really went into that trailer and it would have been a lot more.
Yeah, definitely.
Because his chemicals and everything.
Okay.
But he would have plowed in
over there.
Well, it's lifted. I had to pull it up.
Okay. So all of this here? Is that damage there?
Yeah. Okay. I had to lift it because it was bent down.
Okay.
You know, there's a...
And then your tire came off?
The tire's broken off.
Okay.
Take it off. This side of the trailer is fine. He ramped the... He just ramped it.
Okay.
And with his two tires, so that's why.
Do you know if he was like driving behind you for a while? Did you see him at all or no?
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah. Was he driving okay? Or
Yeah.
Was he driving? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was just cruising along like normal, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to be turning here, and I thought he was going to be looking, you know. Okay. But I guess maybe he wasn't looking.
And what were your observations of him when he got out of the vehicle? How was he acting?
He seemed okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Apologetic or?
Yeah, I think he was just, oh shit, you know, I think he was just all flustered, you know. I mean, it's something he lives right down there. I know it. I know it is. You know, I'm sure it's not something that he just wanted to have happen. I don't want it to happen,
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
by him, you know.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
And you're okay? You're not injured
No.
by a rescue team?
He has a deal with Buick. Land Rover is a Jaguar company.
Here?
I'm fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, he literally make the vehicle skim here because it broke off a metal piece here, and the wheel well goes here.
I don't know who their parent company is, but I think it's like probably a Chinese company. We can Google it. Jaguar Land Rover Limited, Tata Motors.
He plowed here and kind of think the vehicle went like this. Is what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? It kind of cramped.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty.
Let's get to the stop. It happened so quickly.
How fast was he driving, do you think?
It's hard to tell. You know,
Like an estimate?
30 something miles.
30, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy. You know, it was a normal speed. I don't know what's going on.
Not Buick, that's for sure.
Yep, yeah.
Tata is not Chinese, it's Indian.
Yeah, I think if I were to
Is that him walking away yet?
Is this getting? Yeah, I don't know who this is.
I want the part where they have to chase him down. He's like, I was just talking to the president, guys.
Get up there, or what do you need?
No, I think I'm good.
You need anything?
Yeah, as long as Gideon, you're done. Perfect. Alrighty.
Said two of his wheels went up on almost like a ramp, and then he probably jerked the wheel as well.
Yes, sir. So, if this is the traffic exchange information, all you have all of the information you guys need. Insurance. Right off. All your informations, all vehicle 1 and driver 1, vehicle 2, driver 2 is going to be the other party. The case number on your upper right corner. At the bottom is my name and the sheriff's office. If you guys have any questions,
He failed his sobriety test. Failed sobriety test.
Good. My name is Debbie.
Any questions from me? Sir. All right. Thank you. I have
Hi.
Deputy.
How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. My name is Deputy Lebanon with the Martin County Sheriff's Office Traffic DUI.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Deputy Gideon requests that I respond here to conduct a DUI investigation on you, just to ensure that you're safe to operate the motor vehicle at the time of the crash. Okay.
They make what's the Enclave? That's a Buick SUV. Buick is just not that. It's not as high profile as it used to be. It's not as flashy, right? I mean, they're still a company, but
Said he did conduct his investigation, so the civil aspect of this is done. So I'm going into a criminal aspect. Okay. Can you tell me what happened with the crash?
Oh, looking down at my phone.
Okay.
I changed the radio station, and I hit it.
Okay. So you were looking down at your phone and changing yours.
Yes, the radio station.
All right. And where are you coming from today?
My house.
Your house. Where's your house at?
462.
So right down the street?
Yes.
Okay. And you're not injured from the crash
Sure.
in any way? Okay. So are you willing to perform a few field sobriety exercises just to ensure that you're safe to operate the motor vehicle? Okay. What I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you step out and we're going to go in front of my car, okay?
The Buick Enclave of Avenir is their most luxury model, which they have packages on top of that, like sport, touring, utility, blah, 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 whatever. But the Avenir starts at about $60K and goes up from there.
So I'm going to follow you. Over there. You can walk on the sidewalk. I know it's a little hot out here. Keep on going.
7 back operations.
Okay, more comfortable for you? Are you okay in the sun? Okay. So besides your, like, do you have any medical conditions I need to know about?
I've had 7 back operations.
Okay.
20-some other operations on my leg.
Okay.
In my leg as well.
When was your recent surgery? How long ago?
October of last year.
Of last year? Okay. Are you able to, like, walk, lift your leg with no issues, or do you have?
I'll have a limp.
You have a limp?
And my ankle's fused.
Okay. So what we're going to do is, since you do have injuries, I'm going to have you seated, and we're going to have you perform seated exercises. Are you okay with that? Okay. Before we get started, okay, do you feel comfortable with your shoes, or do you want to remove your shoes?
No, fine.
Yeah, okay. What I'm going to have you do is remove your glasses and put it on top of the hood, and you're perfect. You're on top of this. And then go ahead and...
I mean, even though it's just golf, and even though he's old and retired, like, he's still a fucking high-end fucking athlete, right? He, like, it's hard to believe that he couldn't fucking, like, he's not like goddamn John Daly, you know what I mean? It's hard to believe he couldn't pass a field sobriety test.
Have a seat all the way on the push button. And then go ahead and bring your feet towards you. All the way, perfect. And how much have you had to drink today?
None.
None? Do you take any medication?
I took a few, yes.
What's a few?
Motrin, ibuprofen, and we call it...
Okay, did you take all of them today?
Yes.
Yeah, at what time? In the morning, night?
Morning.
In the morning. Okay, do you know the milligrams for each?
No, the ibuprofen 8 and...
Okay, and do you take any illegal substances?
No.
No? Smoke weed?
Nope.
No? Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so what I'm going to have you do is place your hands at your side. Alright, so what you're going to do is look at my pen right here, okay? And with your eyes and your eyes only, you're going to follow that. Don't move your head, do you understand?
You got it.
Perfect. Don't move your head.
He listed something they blocked out. I'm assuming a painkiller, a muscle relaxer or something, and then ibuprofen and Motrin. Look, if Trump wants to, he can have Pam Bondi get to the bottom of it. Well, never mind.
Don't move your head. Don't move your head. Try not to move your head, okay?
Get the hiccups.
It's gonna go up, follow up.
Yeah, field sobriety test, if a cop makes you, like, it's all on their discretion. So if he really wants you to fail, he's going to say you failed. And then if you go past the breathalyzer, they're just going to claim that you were on pot or some drug they can't test for.
It's gonna go in circles and come really, really close to your face. It's gonna feel like it's gonna touch your face. It's not going to, okay?
Actually, there was just a big Tennessee thing about state troopers charging people with DUI that had no DUI. And it happens in every state.
Can you bring your feet in more? Perfect. So follow this.
Yes, the hiccups, that's pretty fucking crazy. You're right. He hiccups all the way to the police department, too.
One more time. All right, give me 1 moment. All right, so for this first exercise, what I'm going to have you do is take your index fingers and point them out like this, and then return your hands back to your side. Okay, so just like this, yes, sir. And you're going to remain in this position until I give you further instructions. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Perfect.
God damn. Tiger's got some girth, bro.
When I tell you to begin, you're going to tilt your head back at a 45-degree angle and close your eyes. Do you understand? Perfect. Do you know your left hand from your right hand? Which one is your left? Perfect. Which one is your right? Great. Alrighty, so like I said, when I tell you to begin, you're going to tilt your head.
He's very venous, right? Very vascular.
back at a 45-degree angle. Okay, don't begin yet. And then you're gonna close your eyes. Don't begin yet. Okay, so you're just gonna watch me for the time being. Okay. So like I said, when I say left, you're gonna raise your left hand directly in front of your face, touch the tip of your finger to the tip of your nose, and then immediately return your hand back to your side. Same thing when I say right. You're gonna touch your right finger to the tip of your nose, to the tip of your side, and immediately return your hand back to your side. When I say the tip of your finger, this is the tip of your finger. Okay. It's not gonna be your fingerprint. It's not gonna be your thumbnail. It's not gonna be the side of your finger. This is the tip of your nose. Okay. It's not gonna be the sides. It's not gonna be the top. It's not gonna be the bottom. It's not gonna be your nostrils. Okay. Do you understand? Do you have any questions? No. Alrighty, go ahead and begin.
I think he always looks like he basically hates everything going on. Like he hates his life. He hates this cop. He hates the road he's standing on. He hates the shirt he put on this morning. He hates the fucking cologne he decided to wear. He just looks like he hates everything all the time.
Make sure you close your eyes. Left. Just like I explained and demonstrated.
Oh, that sucks, Patriot RV Life.
Remember to return your hand back to your side. I'm not going to keep reminding you. Right. Left.
He keeps forgetting to return his hand.
Right. Left. You can go ahead and open your eyes. Alrighty. For this exercise, what I want you to do is place your hands palm to palm with one hand up and one hand down like this. Okay, and you're going to remain in this position until I give you further instructions. Do you understand? Yes. Perfect. When I tell you to begin, you're going to turn your top hand over and count out loud 1. Then turn your hand back over and count out loud 2. Counting only when your hands make contact, like this. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, so one here,
so
2 here?
Yes, sir. Only when your hands make contact. So 1, 2, 1,
That's 1.
2. Yes, sir. Okay. You're going to repeat this. Speed up as you go and do not stop until told. Okay. Make sure you keep your hands and fingers parallel during.
Speed up as you go, she said.
Like this. It's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
What's crazy is like he could easily hire a driver for the rest of his fucking life, dude.
1, 2. You understand? Do you have any questions? Alrighty, go ahead and begin.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
It's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. Speed up as you go and do not stop until told. Okay. Make sure you keep your hands and fingers parallel during each pat like this. It's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You understand? Do you have any questions? Alrighty, go ahead and begin. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Make sure you speed up as you go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
He did, at first he wasn't speeding up, but he did better once they told him to speed up.
What I have you do is make a fist with both hands.
The county would play for it. He wasn't drunk, just tired. He was on duty or off duty? What? I had an off duty. Okay.
Of your chest and your right fist against your left chest. So it's going to look like this.
I'm glad they're paying for it.
Center of your chest and then your right fist directly in front.
Make sure it's fixed back right.
I'll give you further instructions, okay? When I say begin, you must perform 4 tasks, okay? Your first task is to count out loud from 1 to 4 while you move your fist in a step-like fashion, making contact between each fist. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? The second task is to memorize the position of your fist after you counted to 4. Clap your hands 3 times and return your fist to the memorized.
See, this is again too. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Clap your hands 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Return your fist to the position. 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. He hiccuped the whole time. He's got the dry heaves or some shit.
Count 1, 2, 3, 4. You're gonna memorize the position of your fist and then clap 3 times, and then return to the memorized position. Your third task is to move your fist in a step-like fashion in reverse order, counting out loud from 5 to 8, and return your left fist to the center of your chest. So you're gonna go 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, I'm sorry. I counted backwards.
Open your hands with your palms down and place them on your lap. So after you complete the task, you're gonna open your hands up and place them on your lap. Okay? Do you understand all the instructions? Or do you want?
All right, I can do that. So start here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then open hands on your lap. That's a lot of instructions, though.
Want me to repeat them to you one more time?
Repeat them as we go.
I'm sorry.
If your elderly mother couldn't do it, then it's probably like too much instructions, right?
Sorry?
Repeat them as we go.
So I can't repeat them as we go, okay? That's why I'm asking that you understand all the instructions. If you need me to demonstrate it to you one more time, I can. Okay, but this is the time to ask any questions that you have.
First one is 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way out.
Do you need me to explain it to you one more time? Okay. So like I said, you're gonna begin.
1, 2,
don't
3.
begin yet. Okay, so don't begin yet. Okay, so
You said begin. You said begin, bitch. That type of shit that's pissed me off. She's like, Well, you will go ahead and begin. After don't begin yet, like when you say the word begin, he's already anxious. He's going to start. Like,
to you one more time. Okay.
Listen.
So, like I said, you're going to begin.
1, 2,
Don't begin yet. Okay.
You're like I said, you're going to begin, and he starts to don't begin yet, and they'll count that off on him, right? But he's nervous. He's anxious. He's trying to remember all these instructions. Like keep running back through his head. Like that's kind of shitty, and they'll mark that off on him for refusing to listen to commands or whatever.
1, 2, 3, 4, all the way out.
Do you need me to explain it to you one more time?
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, you're going to begin.
1, 2,
Don't begin yet. Okay, so don't begin yet. Okay, so all I want you to do is just remain in the starting position, okay? When I tell you to begin, you're going to perform 4 tasks. Okay, task 1 is to count out loud from 1 to 4 while moving your fist in a step-like fashion like this and making contact between each fist. So it's going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, second task is to memorize the position of your fist. Clap 3 times and return your fist to the memorized position. Your third task is to move your fist in a step-like fashion in reverse order, counting out loud from 5 to 8. Okay, making contact between each fist. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, placing your left fist at the center of your chest. Your fourth task is to open your hands palm down and place them on your lap. Okay, do you have any more questions? All right, go ahead and begin.
That wasn't 4, was it?
Go ahead and begin.
All right, 1, 2, 3, and then he just says 4. Clap 3 times. 7, 8. One more. So he only did 3 steps each time, but still.
Okay, go ahead and stand up for me. Then you're going to face my card. Okay, go ahead and put your hands behind your back.
We still didn't get the I called the president clip, did we? That's okay. I'll just pull it up. He's like, this is real fun. That's one of the things he says in the back of the cop's car, and he hiccups all the way to the jail.
Are you okay with your manager taking your stuff?
Yes.
Yes, okay. You don't.
They do find a couple pills in his front left pocket. I don't think they identify them. That's good brand advertisement for that Focus thing or whatever, right? Whatever that Focus pouches are. See why he's walking away? He's just walking.
Mr. Woods. Come on. Mr. Woods. Get you to hang out down here with us, please.
Thank you so much. All right, you got it. All right, thank you. Bye.
Listen.
Just keep you down here.
Listen how casually he says it. Like, oh, no big deal.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I was just talking to the president.
Yeah, I can stand over here. I was talking to the president. That's on my phone. I was talking to the president of the United States.
I'm trying to get away from her.
Yeah, I was just talking to the president. Like, tell me that isn't some type of weird flex. Like, you think that was gonna help you or some shit. I'm glad it didn't.
Oh yeah, he's very apologetic for what he did last night. Really?
No, nothing in your mouth, please. Nothing in your mouth. Let's get out. Thank you.
Oh, damn it.
None of that.
No, he was very apologetic for what he did last night.
That's why everybody should have. You just gotta nowadays, especially if you live anywhere with traffic, you just got to be running a fucking dash cam. Q Idiot bought one for my car when we had some shit going on with the neighbors. He bought and sent one to me, which I run all the time. And then, no, it was before the neighbors. He bought it for some reason. We needed it. And then when we had the shit going on with the neighbors, I bought Mariah one.
That's all right. It is what it
We also need to get to the bottom of this update. What is
Matt,
this?
and you hit the nail on the head.
This is the cop. You guys remember the cop that just randomly shoots his best friend judge? Says there's new evidence. Let's see what it
Wanting
is.
to know the why, understandably so. How did two friends, colleagues with a great relationship for years and years, how does it suddenly go south to the point that one shoots the other, point blank in his chambers on video, and then very peacefully turns himself in? Like it's mind-boggling.
New body cam video obtained by Fox News Digital shows state police questioning former Letcher County Sheriff Sean Mickey Steins just minutes after he allegedly shot and killed District Judge Kevin Mullins in his chambers.
Okay, he was saying really weird shit like, don't let them kill me. If you take me to jail, they're going to kill me there. They're after my family. Make sure my family's safe. You guys got to protect me. They've been trying to kill me. They're going to kill me. They start taking him to the jail where they're going to keep him. He's like, this is not the right way. You're not taking me to the right place. You guys are taking me out of the woods to fucking kill me. Like he was having some type of breakdown.
We covered before about this sheriff shooting this judge and the judge's chambers. We didn't really have all the video, but now they've released all the video. So here's what we didn't know.
Some people thought it might have something to do with his daughter because he goes to the judge's phone at one point, which is weird.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? Or have you from your 401 or 15 years in business together? Sheriff of Letcher County. He was born in 1980 and was elected sheriff in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. He has a teenage daughter and he is known for being very active in the community. Now, before becoming sheriff, Mickey Steins was a bailiff in.
And this is, I don't know how they pick the goddamn judges in Kentucky, but I think it's the goofiest looking motherfucker in the town. They're like, oh, that guy could be a fucking court jester, so might as well make him the judge. At least it has to do with the court. Like, look at this goofy ass motherfucker. Handing out those fucking dick-downed plea deals.
Judge Kevin Mullins' courtroom. In a video uploaded to social media, here is Sheriff Steins and his daughter singing the song I Shot the Sheriff by Bob Marley, where his daughter is dressed in convict orange and sitting in the back of the sheriff's patrol car.
It's shocking video of a local Kentucky sheriff who's been charged with shooting a judge to death. In the video obtained by Inside Edition, you can see the accused sheriff lip-syncing with his daughter inside his patrol car.
This is a nothing burger. They're trying to make this into something. Like, it's a popular song. He's the sheriff. It's funny that his daughter wanted to make this TikTok with him. This isn't shocking footage.
She's in the back seat wearing an orange t-shirt. Now the choice of songs is raising eyebrows. It's Eric Clapton's version of Bob Marley's iconic I Shot the Sheriff.
And it was recorded goddamn 5-6 years ago. I'm sorry, 7-8 years ago.
They break out into I Fought the Law.
Now, this is District Court Judge Kevin Mullins, born in 1970, and he served as a district court judge for 15 years. He was a former district attorney who moved to a judgeship. Now, Sheriff Steins and Judge Mullins had a close personal relationship.
Dude. So goofy.
For the judge as a bailiff for several years before becoming sheriff. And in most reports, people who knew them say that they were actually close personal friends.
Mickey and Kevin were really close and good friends. I never saw any hostilities between them.
Residents in Letcher County are struggling to cope with a shooting involving two of its most prominent citizens.
That's why on September 19, 2024,
it's 45 long Colt 410.
Sheriff Steins and Judge Mullins had lunch together at a local restaurant called Streetside. Okay, so it's 12 o'clock. We got the judge, the sheriff, and two members of the court staff hanging out in the judge's chambers. Now, 6 minutes later, the sheriff stands up, says something to the group, says goodbye to the judge, cracks a joke. Judge finds it funny, and then the sheriff heads out. You can actually see the judge behind the sheriff in the door.
Okay.
The sheriff then walks out toward the break room, says goodbye to the rest of the court staff. Right behind him is the judge, saying goodbye to the sheriff. Next, we fast forward and we see the judge and the staff headed to the restaurant to get something to eat.
They went out to eat together.
Mickey Steins going into the restaurant.
They went out to eat together at a local restaurant right before the shooting.
Restaurant with the judge and the rest of the staff. Now everybody's back in the judge's chambers at about 1:38.
Ooh,
the judge.
Oh, that bitch is vaping in the fucking courthouse, dude. Talk about playing favorites. Look at this. Look at this bitch.
The staff.
Right here. Look at her. Hitting that vape, she even blows out a cloud, dude.
Back in the judge's chambers at about 1:38. You see the judge. He's sitting down with the rest of the court staff.
What would they do if you started vaping in fucking if you started vaping in court?
He's putting his robe on, getting ready to hear cases for the rest of the day. Now, it's 2:32 p.m. Judge is still on the bench looking over some papers. The sheriff is now seen coming back into the courtroom, and he's headed straight for the judge's chambers. Now, the judge is in there with the rest of the staff because court is done for the day. The sheriff then asks everyone to leave because he wants to speak to the judge alone, sits down in the chair, and starts asking the judge some questions. So now something interesting happens. The sheriff is now on his phone, and then he leans forward and asks the judge if he could see his phone. The judge then gives him his phone. You can see he asks the judge for his PIN code. He then types the judge's PIN code into the phone to unlock it. Then it looks like the sheriff is checking the judge's phone to see if a number is on the judge's phone.
Amber also testified additional video showed signs looking at moments.
No, it's not. What I'm saying is it's not 40. So 45 comes in 45 ACP, 45 long Colt, which is what it shoots, which is a low pressure round. And then you have 45 Win Mag. 45 Win Mag is a fucking like a heavy pressure round. I've got a Taurus judge. Well, I've got a circuit judge and a Taurus judge.
Mullins' phone several times.
I only have the circuit judge now.
Stein tried to call his daughter and then tried to call his daughter from Mullins' phone as well.
Have you issued a search warrant for him?
All right, so we heard that about trying to call his daughter from both phones.
Checking the judge's phone to see if a number's PIN code into the phone to unlock it. Then it looks like the sheriff, you can see he asks the judge for his PIN code, and then he leans forward and asks the judge if he could see, starts asking the judge some questions for the day. The sheriff then asks everyone to leave because he wants to speak to the judge alone, sits down in the chair and starts asking.
So he sets this up kind of like I want to talk to him alone kind of deal.
The judge some questions. So now something interesting happens. The sheriff is now on his phone, and then he leans forward and asks the judge if he could see his phone. The judge then gives him his phone. You can see he asks the judge for his PIN code. He then types the judge's PIN code into the phone to unlock it. Then it looks like the sheriff is checking the judge's phone to see if a number is on the judge's phone.
Amber also testified additional video showed Stein looking at Mullins' phone several times. He said Stein tried to call his daughter and then tried to call his daughter from Mullins' phone as well.
Have you issued a search warrant for him? Yes. Okay. And have officers confirmed that the sheriff's...
Yeah, long Colts. It is a crazy... Hold on, I'll show it to you. It is a crazy looking round. Some people just call it 45 Colt or 45 long Colts. They're cool guns. So 45 long Colt versus a regular 45, like 45 ACP is a big fucking difference. That's probably why you thought it was a Magnum. See the difference? I mean, the same around, but that's a big fucking difference. You have basically a shell and a half behind that motherfucker. It's a cool gun though. 410, especially if you got snakes. If you got fucking snakes, having a 410 ready to go with some type of shot in it. Anyways.
Daughters.
Well, also testified additional video.
It is cool.
Looking at Mullins' phone several times.
Phone to see if the judge's board and ask the judge.
So what we figured originally is like he tried to call his daughter. His daughter doesn't answer her dad calling, but then he calls from the judge's phone and she answers immediately. I don't know if that was true, but that was the rumor going around.
And starts asking the judge some questions. So now something interesting happens. The sheriff is now on his phone, and then he leans forward and asks the judge if he could see his phone. The judge then gives him his phone. You can see he asks the judge for his PIN code. He then types the judge's PIN code into the phone to unlock it. Then it looks like the sheriff is checking the judge's phone to see if a number is on the judge's phone.
Amber also testified additional video.
The circuit judge is the rifle version. It is really cool. Hold on, I'll show it to you. The blued one's probably cooler. Let me grab it. This is the circuit judge. It's a revolving rifle. It's cool. It's chambered the same way. 45 long Colt, 410. Pretty cool revolver rifle.
Showed Stein looking at Mullins' phone several times. He said Stein tried to call his daughter and then tried to call his daughter from Mullins' phone.
44 mag is not around.
Issued a search warrant for him? Yes. Okay. And have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone? Yes.
That was the Dirty Harry one, right?
And have officers
tried to call his daughter.
44 Magnum.
Tried to call his daughter from Mullins' phone as well.
Have you issued a search warrant for him? Yes. Okay. And have officers confirmed that the sheriff's daughter's phone number was on Judge Mullins' phone? Yes.
And he sees whatever he sees, stands up.
Now listen. He was convinced that someone was trying to kill him, like a manic episode of some sort of paranoia episode or something. So I'm not saying like he saw like nudes of his daughter or something, like they had been texting and they were fucking. Like he might just think that this judge is part of this elaborate gang stalking, kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
and he sees whatever.
And just because they said Judge Mullins tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone, I'm sorry, the sheriff tried to call his daughter from the judge's phone, and they said, did you confirm that the daughter's number was on the phone? Yeah, because he dialed it, right? He tried to call his daughter from that phone.
He sees, stands up, and as you can see,
and then
very animated.
It does not take long after that.
And then he starts shooting the judge. As you can imagine, court staff hears the barrage of bullets, and they start freaking out. Now, people are evacuating the building, and that makes sense. Gunfire, you think you may have an active shooter, you want to get out. But the sheriff, the one who actually shot the judge, the active shooter, he also evacuates the building too. Here he is walking down the street.
I think Dirty Harry's gun was a Smith & Wesson Model 29, which I think is 44 Magnum, right? Famously 44 Magnum.
He then turns around, goes back by everybody. Remember, those are the court staff. They evacuated the building.
And decides to turn himself in.
Turns himself in. And here is the body cam footage of what the sheriff told the deputies inside who are looking for the active shooter.
Come on now. Don't worry about it. You know, let's...
He's saying, come on, don't kill me. Don't set me up. Don't let them kill me. Don't, you know.
Be fair. Nobody's going to lay a finger on you. I promise that.
Letcher County, Kentucky.
In the new footage, Steins can be seen looking paranoid and scanning.
We've seen all this. Like, he's obviously having some type of weird episode.
Someone was trying to kill him and asked multiple times for officers to be fair to him. During the police questioning, Steins asked to be jailed in Letcher County, mere steps away from the courthouse, rather than risk being transported to another facility, telling police, quote, I leave this building, I won't take another breath. So listen, do you want to tell us what happened? That's up to you. I'm not trying to force you. It's up to you if you want to tell us what happened. I mean, like I said, something led up to this. It just didn't happen. We would just like to know why it transpired this way. If you don't want to, that's up to you.
That's cool.
Okay. No. Now, with all that, the sheriff is being charged with first-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter.
Yeah,
they shot a sitting judge in his...
Smith & Wesson makes a whole bunch of pistols from their Smith & Wesson Performance Center, which are like fucking top of the line competition pistols that they fucking went through and worked over and blah, blah, but damn, they're expensive.
His chambers on camera, so obviously the murder charges are going to be there. Now, the sheriff's defense team is going with the defense of extreme emotional disturbance. Now, in most other states, it's called the heat of passion, and it's a recognized defense that can reduce a murder charge to a manslaughter charge, the difference between life imprisonment or 20 years in prison. Now, the defense team is going to have to show that the sheriff was acting under a temporary state of insanity, essentially. They got to show that whatever he saw, whatever information he had, enraged him so much in that moment that it was a reasonable explanation for his actions of shooting the judge. Now, the classic example is a married couple. One person goes to work, the other person stays home. The husband comes home and catches his wife in bed with another man, and the husband kills them both. That would be heat of passion. The husband wouldn't be looking at him.
He basically, like, the judge is trying to crawl away, and he's like standing over him still shooting, like, which is crazy.
Murder charge, but a manslaughter charge, because the law recognizes that that situation is so extreme that it could cause a reasonable person to lose control. Here are the sheriff's lawyers explaining it.
At this point, we don't have a complete picture, but what I think was apparent very early is that there was a sudden inflammation of of emotion that transpired in the moments just before the tape came on in the clip that we saw, and so this tape was edited to cut out anything that happened just prior. And we think the moments just prior will tell the whole story. I don't know at this point what ultimately was on that phone. They're examining the phones, but we believe that based upon the statements that our client made just following arrest, as well as the indication that there was this exchange of phones, reviewing of phones, that something in that moment made our client feel that there was no other choice than to do what he did.
So it almost sounds like you think he snapped. I mean, this was a reaction.
Well, yeah, and that would be textbook extreme emotional disturbance with the textbook example always of finding your significant other with someone else, and in the moment, in the older case law, they refer to a textbook example.
I mean, this was a reaction.
Well, yeah, and that would be textbook extreme emotional disturbance with the textbook example always of finding your significant other with someone else, and in the moment, in the older case law, they refer to it the heat of passion, and that's pretty much the same line of reasoning that extreme emotional disturbance followed.
So, since we're talking about possible motives, I'm going to theorize on a couple of motives that seem to be presented in this particular case. But one possible motive is that they didn't want to go to jail because there are allegations that they were running a sextortion ring. One of the deputies had already been arrested and prosecuted for it. And
we heard about this, that they were letting inmates sleep around and shit to get out of duty and this and house arrest and blah, blah, blah.
Now the judge was implicated in that, and one of the victims had implicated the sheriff too. Listen to this.
Newly obtained audio recordings from a police interrogation allege Judge Kevin Mullins engaged in sextortion acts inside the same chambers where he was killed. The recordings are from a 2022 criminal investigation into Letcher County Deputy Ben Fields, who was convicted and sent to prison earlier this year for the rape and sodomy of a female inmate. The woman heard on the recordings is victim Sabrina Atkins, who has been publicly vocal about her claims against the convicted deputy using his position of power to pressure her and other women to have sex in exchange for favorable treatment. But she says Judge Mullins was involved as well.
But he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girl sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, just him having sex with girls for the able to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
We heard this one too as well.
You saw the video?
Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean,
I've seen Judge Mullins having sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know. Because I don't know a lot of people from
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was the judge's chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
Now, Atkins' attorney has gone on record saying, quote, "It's like they were running a brothel out of that courtroom." And Atkins, along with another woman, filed a civil rights lawsuit against the deputy. Sheriff Steins was also named in the lawsuit, and he was deposed in the ongoing suit days before shooting Mullins back in September. But further in those recordings, Atkins can be heard saying Sheriff Steins was involved in the sexual scandal as well.
But you saw the video of the judge. Any other video that you actually saw?
No. They say that Sheriff Steins is involved. I don't know.
Who said that?
Chad, I said videos with Mickey. Mickey used to do the same thing when he was over house arrest.
Now, of course, Ted and Julia, these are extremely heinous allegations against Sheriff Steins and the late Judge Mullins. And as of now, we do know Steins has pleaded not guilty to murder regarding that shooting.
And also be fair, the daughter has come out and said that there was actually no relationship between her and the judge, so that's all fake news.
Investigators say that moments before the shooting, the sheriff used the judge's phone to call his teenage daughter, whose number was apparently saved in the judge's phone. Rumors began to fly that the judge was in a relationship with the daughter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lila Steins. I am 18 years old.
And now the sheriff's daughter, Lila Steins, is finally addressing those rumors in a series of TikTok videos.
Do you all not have anything better to do than to sit and gossip? You are taking my pain and making it your pleasure.
She also had this to say.
A lot of you were asking, what stories? What do you mean by gossip? And what I mean by that is the stories that were made up about me and the other party, the rumors that had been spread about me.
So it seems like this story is one that we're going to have to just speculate on. The sheriff has shot the judge. It seems, if you believe the allegations, that they were involved in this sextortion ring where women would be arrested, and for them to get bail or whatever, they would have to give over sexual.
Somebody said that there's been an uptick in pregnant immigrants. Somebody's fucking them and making them pregnant.
Favors. That's at least what they were accused of. Whether that's true or not is going to be played out in court. And I'll just say it. If the motivations was protecting his daughter or something like that happened, I can see a jury believing, hey, if this father thought this judge was doing it to his daughter, it was shocked, then you have some type of voluntary manslaughter where it's the heat of passion. But right now, the daughter says there was no such thing that had happened. So I don't know if that's not the motivation, then what could be? Was he afraid the judge was going to snitch him out? Who knows? And he's calling the insanity defense, but he was all right all up until he looked at that phone. So whatever's on that phone turns people insane, because he went insane when he looked at that phone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, do great YouTube stuff. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm out. Peace.
Interesting. What do you guys think happened? I don't want to talk about her looks. I mean, she's had a lot going on. Her dad killed the fucking judge, and the internet's fucking lashed out at her and attacked her and made her a victim and an accomplice and a slut and all. I mean, they've made all kinds. I don't want to talk about her appearance. I would probably look pretty fucked up too. So, yeah, wild. Who the fuck knows what happened? It's after 1 a.m. here, and I've got a pinning ceremony to go on. Tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I guess we'll be back tomorrow. Same show, same channel, same, hopefully earlier time. We'll see. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. If you want to support the show, do it at the Just Quick Tools link. Sorry, I got distracted. JustQuickTools.com /mylinks/cold beer confessional. Here's the link there. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Help me pay the bills so we keep the show going. Or I'm going to start messaging you like Bort does his followers. You guys have a good night. We'll see you about the next one. Talk to you later. Love you. See ya. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet.
Oh, you can't thank the mods, though. Then they think they've done something special, and oh, God.
You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit.
Take months for the swelling in their heads to go down.
Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard.
Scooting a big boot.
What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to
Good night, guys.
The
Jews! Sorry, I had to sneak one more in.